Hello there, welcome to A Woman's Friend. I'm here today to talk about a big part of my life, which is suffering from type 1 diabetes. Most people should know the stereotypes of diabetes, which is quite upsetting because hundreds of people die from diabetes on a yearly basis, and with type 1, and diabetes is such a complicated illness to have, and many people die from it. Type 2, type 1. Generally with type 1, you just have it because your pancreas doesn't work. Nobody knows the causes, nobody knows the reasons. It could be something that runs in your family, and it can skip a few generations where you may not be aware of this. This has been going on since forever. It's not a new thing. Type 2 diabetes, yes, is of course more upcoming and more on the horizon than it ever has been. But with type 1, you can get type 1 if you're type 2. That's if you're not looking after yourself and you've just damaged your own pancreas. Anyway, such a complicated illness to talk about. So I wanted to share my own experience with type 1 in the early stages of type 1. So I'm going to start off from 15 because I got it at 16. And when I was 15 at school, secondary school, obviously going through puberty, and me and my friends, being 15 years old, we'd always go in the bathroom, have a little chat, or some of my friends would wear makeup. Me myself didn't wear makeup until the age of 23. That every time I went into the bathroom, I kept having a wee, and me and my friend goes, "You go wee a lot," and I'm like, "I don't know, I just have to." And not thinking too much of it, like it was mentioned a few times, "Oh, you go wee a little bit, don't you?" Like they were going in to have a little chat, and I was just generally going in to use the toilet for what the toilet's meant to be used for. And I do remember at 15, I think, the teachers kind of thought, "Oh, she's having it on a bit," because I kept going to use the toilet. I did wake up at night quite a lot going to use the toilet and stuff like that. I also had a lot of thrush, like quite badly had a lot of thrush, and with the kind of relationship I had with my mum isn't something you could have brought up with her. She was very strict, very unloving, so I didn't get any support from my mum in my puberty years at all. She goes, I was quite terrible. When compared to a lot of my friends, I don't know. Anyway, so I'd get quite heavily flushed, and people would say, "Oh, you having sex?" And I was like, "No." But I got quite a lot of thrush, and I kept needing to go wee, and then I got urine infections, and my mum was like, "Are you having sex?" Like, she got so angry about it when that wasn't the case at all. So skipping on around Christmas time, I don't remember the dates, I don't remember anything like that, but I know it was after Christmas, so around this sort of time of the year. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about it. We went to my aunt's house for Christmas dinner when I was 16, and I said to my mum, "I've got a really bad," which not many other type 1 diabetics that I know of or have spoken to have actually said they understand this, but I don't. Everybody's different, and I can't stress that enough. Everybody is different, and people affect people different. Yeah, it might be similar, but it's different for everybody. So I said I had really severe jaw pain, and literally felt like my jaw was burning. And my mum was like, oh, she's just over exaggerating. Like, my mum was not the type of person. And the reason why I say my mum is because I lived with her. My dad and my mum broke up when I was 10. Anyway, so she said, oh, you're just over exaggerating, you know. Like, she wasn't the type of person that would give you sympathy if you felt ill, or she wasn't the type of person to take you doctors every 5 minutes. With my husband's mum, literally everybody's ill all the time, so it's quite weird how opposite people can be. And I was like, I'm in really bad pain in my jaw, and she didn't quite understand that. And as usual, the biggest signs is constantly urinating, constantly having drinks, which people are thinking, oh, if you're good drink so much, you're going to urinate so much. So obviously you're not really thinking. And the thing is, with type 1 diabetes, a lot of the symptoms are quite similar to puberty, and the tiredness, just not engaging well with people, you know, it's very similar to puberty. So I don't remember too much. I do remember constantly having jaw pain. I do remember drinking water from the tap, and I would leave the tap on for ages just to get it freezing cold. And I was drinking water quite a lot from the tap. I was literally standing over the tap just to drink the water. And I was having baths because my jaw was in agony, especially on the right side of my face. It literally felt like somebody punched me, and it felt like they left a burn. My jaw was burning. It was weird. So I was in my house, I don't know, normal day, got to the night time. I was walking around naked, according to my mum, which she said isn't like me, but I was completely naked walking around, not with it. She thought I was on drugs or whatever, because she just assumes the worst. That's the kind of person she is. And she said I'd swallowed my tongue, which I didn't know you could do, and apparently she pulled it out. She called an ambulance. I don't know the details too well here. So I went to hospital and I was in a coma. I'm not sure how long I was in a coma for. Maybe a few days. I know it wasn't particularly very long. It definitely must have been under 2 weeks. Or, like I said, I don't know too much details. And with my family, you know, like they just say, why do you want to know that for? So it's quite hard to, you know so much about it. And my mum, being my mum, was very upset towards my brother being scared, because they came out apparently, and I don't know how true this is, and told my family chances are really low, but then came back out and said she's fine. And my mum kept going on about how my brother was so upset, and apparently my brother shouted and screamed at my dad, because my dad was like, oh, she's gonna die, and he kept shouting at my dad. And then when I came out of hospital, my mum was laughing about how she said I was being a drama queen about my jaw hurting. That's the kind of mum I have, guys. So after I came out of the coma, I remember feeling very weak in my legs. Like, I can't explain, like a simple walk, you know, what it does, the goodness of your body. Like, I felt like an old person. My legs felt weak. I felt tired. but I did feel better. And I had machines everywhere, you know, things in my arm. I had a pee thing, contapita. My accent goes a bit funny sometimes. Contapita, yeah. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. I'm really sorry. And I felt really, I looked drained, and I really wish I had pictures back then. And you know, the family was like, no, you don't want to see that. But I really wish I did. I don't know why, but even now I think I wish I had a few pictures, you know, to show my kids. And it is something I do worry about with my children, because I'm like trying to look out for the signs for them. Anyway, so after coming out of the hospital, being 16, I didn't really care. And that's God's honest truth. I didn't really give monkeys about it. And that's partly why I am posting a video. I didn't know, I'm still learning about diabetes. I'm still learning, and like I said, type 1 and type 2 are very similar. It is genetically different, but the illness is just so complicated. So it's not just a case of you've got too much sugar. It could be a case of you're quite old, your immune system's not as great. But you know, like with type 1, generally with type 1, it is because it's just a part of your family, which a lot of people aren't really aware of. My uncle has it on my mum's side, and quite interesting enough, he got it in his 40s. My dad got type 2 diabetes. I don't know if he got it in his 40s or 30s, but my dad's an alcoholic, so I think that's the main reason why he got it. But also, what I've heard with type 2 diabetes, if it runs in your family, you are more likely to get it. And his mum had it, but in her 80s, which is quite common with elderly people. The immune system goes down and you're less active or whatever. But with type 1, if you just have type 1 without having type 2, there's no known reason for it. It's just the fact that your pancreas doesn't work. Like, it's like being born without, well, I wouldn't say exactly the same, but it's like being born without certain limbs. It's just not there. So as I was 16, I was going to college, and I was just a moody girl. I didn't realize how much high blood sugar can affect your moods, and it can make you so annoyed with the world, which is quite normal at that age. And I didn't care to control it either. I knew it was a thing I had to take before I ate, and I just thought, let me take it. And then the doctors were kind of saying to me, look, it's going to affect your eyes. You've got a bit of diabetes in your eyes, and you haven't had it so long. This is ridiculous. You know, I had lovely doctors as well, but they were just like, you haven't had it this long. Why is it? Because I just didn't care. Bought certain foods which, you know, are high in blood sugar, high in, you know, most takeaways do have a lot of sugar in them. You know, I just didn't care at 16. The most of the things I got told was, it's bad for your feet. Your feet can come off because you can cut off circulation if you don't control it, and your eyes can go. Now, my dad is blind since 2014, and he still hasn't gotten to that place where he wants to control his diabetes. He loves to moan about having diabetes, but he doesn't want to control it. Now, what's made me more interested in controlling my diabetes is my children, of course. I didn't realize how much it can, when you have high blood sugar, which it's very hard to control. You can get in a good rhythm, but anything can set it off. Like, when you're in a routine, the routine goes off a bit, or you're doing more exercise, or your body needs to work together, and it is all down to balance. It doesn't mean you can't have certain things, but it's just down to balance. Anyway, and I didn't realize that when your blood sugar's high, that it's actually taking energy from your muscles. So my dad has got very frail over the years, and it's taken a lot of energy from his muscles, which is something I don't want. I might be a woman, but I don't want to be weak. And it's just, there's just so many complications towards diabetes, and the moodiness, you know, like it's one of those things. And when you have low blood sugar, hypos, you can also kill off some brain cells. You know, I think if you don't control it, what it initially does is it's like a bitch. It's going to get you slowly, and you're going to suffer. So your best option is to look after it as well as you can. And as hard as that may be, you know, if you want to look good, if you want to be the best you can be, look after your diabetes. But every day is not going to be easy. Every day you might think, yeah, I'm on top of it for a few months, and then you have an off day, and that could be such a downer. People just don't realize that. And a lot of diabetics go through this struggle on their own because people just don't realize it. Now, I for one felt very alone when I got diabetes. My husband has took a great interest in my diabetes, and I'm so thankful for that, because I've never had that before. The way my family are, is there's always somebody who's got it worse than you. Yes, that's true, of course it's true, but you don't understand it, so why should you comment on it? But diabetes, I think, has been very lonely for me. Even with people who do understand it. I have a friend of mine, lovely person, but her dad has type 1, and the way she is, she just doesn't look after herself at all. Now, I'm not saying I'm a gym person. I'm not saying that I go to the gym every week. I'm not saying that I'm the fittest person in the world, because that's just not true. But I just can't understand, knowing her dad has it, why she, even if it is type 1, why she isn't bothering to care to look after herself. So anyway, guys, that's a little bit of information about me. I hope you all have a lovely new year, and let's hope 2022 brings us happiness and a lot of grace from God. Thank you all so much. Please like and subscribe. Any questions below, please ask me. But once again, I don't know it all about diabetes. I have had it for almost 14 years, and I'm still learning. And it is a very complicated disease. So if I've caused offence to anybody, I do apologise, but I'm still learning. And it does affect everybody differently. So thank you, and have a nice evening. Ciao.